In the 2020 Democratic presidential primary debate, I was so intrigued with how the candidates were ranked on stage. Actually, as it turned out in retrospect, they were almost ranked exactly how they came in delegate votes they received. My favorite person on stage was Marianne Williamson, who was she was practically off stage to the left behind the curtain because her ranking apparently was so low. And Bernie Sanders, well, he was almost center stage. And in fact, he came in second in the number of delegates received that year. I appreciated Bernie because he's basically the other side of the same coin in the populist culture at the time and currently. It's similar to Marianne Williamson. You could take the long view and see that even the Democratic Party has been infiltrated. Welcome. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith at Conservative Coffee Hour. We examine the topic of being conservative, what it means, and what is it we're trying to conserve. More often, we fall into the trap of trying to out strategize the Democrats, which is truly a trap. The Democrats are running a machine, and a true conservative is trying to conserve. They're trying to conserve the essence of our nation, a representational republic. It's a philosophy we're trying to conserve and not to out machine the Democrats. We're not looking for a means to an end. We're not in for the win at all cost proposition. That's the maxim of the Democrats. I recently saw an episode of South Park, the Harry and Meghan episode about their brand, and in that episode they were marketing themselves as being the victim. Marketing a brand, even if it's a losing proposition, can be a way of marketing ourselves. And how we market the conservative brand, it's often a loser, at least on paper. Traditionally, Republicans are the minority party. In the South Park episode, Harry and Meghan marketed their brand by playing the victim. But being a victim, is that really the same thing as being free? And I guess any of us could ask, are any of us free anymore? I was intrigued by the South Park topic of a brand itself, because late in the Donald Trump career narrative, the the area and segment of brand management became more and more important to the Trump organization. And if you look at Donald Trump, what is his brand? You could say his brand is all about freedom and being a free person, because ironically, he's probably the last person in America who's actually exemplifying what it means to be a free person and living a free life. That's why it all seems so outlandish to us, because we seldom see it anymore or experience it anymore. And being true to brand, it can seem outrageous if you're a free person. And how do you market that to people? You usually need to meet them where they are. And that's what Donald Trump has been doing for the last 8 years. At the 2020 Democratic presidential primary, I was, as I said, intrigued by Marianne Moore, Marianne Williamson, rather. Marianne was a minority voice in her time and continues to be, speaking out on, of all things, spiritual topics. Now, that is truly an infiltration. And Bernie, too, he was an infiltrator of sorts. The very negative and anti government approach that Bernie had, that the system was all corrupt and infiltrated from within. They ignored Marianne and silenced Bernie almost altogether. And what does all that say? Why is it that everyone needs to be silenced? Of course, that's a rhetorical question, but it's a question we need to ask because it's the difference between a machine and a philosophy. Mr. Sanders is here in Chicago today at a rally, and we're being asked to get out a counter narrative, a counter protest to drown out Mr. Sanders. And, I appreciate that. I get it. But, you know, what is that all about? Is that the point, just to get out and outshout somebody? And is that all in keeping with the whole idea that we are now being called as a GOP to out ballot harvest the Democrats and to out cheat and to drown everyone out by screaming the loudest? Is that really where we need to be? The average person in this country probably is catching on to what's going on at this point. I'm grateful for Bernie and for Marianne and all the other voices which will simply not be silenced. When someone is shouting you down and telling you not to talk to that person, ask them, what is it you're afraid of? And you'll probably get an idea that they're fighting for a system, a machine, or a party instead of fighting for a philosophy, our republic, and our nation. During this time of Lent, we're reminded that we can't redeem ourselves by being less than we are so that others can exist. And that's what we're basically being told to do in this time of popular culture, to be less than we are, or be nothing, to just go away and shut up so that other people have space to exist. And that's truly a losing proposition. Christ died so we could, try out that model of not existing and being nothing, so that other people could exist. And it just didn't really go so well. And I think we're at the end of that experiment now. And now's the time to move on from it and hold to what is good, true, and lovely in the world. And what is lovely in the world is everything that God intended for us from his perspective and not necessarily from ours. And that's not a shouting match, it's not a machine or a political party. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.